Hello, today we
are going to be making puppy chow.
we are doing this combined so that you understand what you and your partner should be doing together and what that looks like, and we're going to be communicating. So we don't have a script for this, so we may just be like, we're going natural. So we haven't measured any ingredients yet, but this is your first lab. You may be in a new room, so it may look a little bit differently. So we're just making puppy chow. We're gonna be talking about it from two perspectives. The way you're gonna make a small recipe for you and your partner, and then we're also gonna add some layers of how we make this for Javicino, because it is one of our best-selling recipes, and we make a lot of this. Yes. So I'm gonna be the partner that measures.
I'm going to be the partner kind of getting everything else ready around Mrs. Stockard while she's pre-measuring, so that we know that we shouldn't just be standing staring at our partner.
So number one, you start measuring your ingredients in the order that they're going to go. So I'm not going to start with measuring my checks because I don't need this until the end, and my partner needs to melt all of the ingredients. So I am going to start off. So this year we are going to scaling. And you learned a little about this probably in basics, and we're going to spend more time on scales as we go through this class. But first off, this is a digital scale. To turn it on, you just turn on, and then you are going to look at the unit. So for puppy chow, we're going to start with 2 ounces of butter. So it's in grams right now, so you need to switch to ounces. There's 2 ounces. There's ounces and then ounces, pounds. We're just doing 2 ounces, so this one is fine. If it said like a pound and an ounce measurement, that's when you would use that. So I am going to put a contraption on here, and I'm going to tare, which means zero it out. So right now it's not measuring my bowl. A lot of novice measurers, people that measure, they will put the butter with the bowl on there and then wonder why it's wrong, because it's measuring 2 things. All right, so here's my butter, and I have 3.49, so I obviously do not need that much. So I'm going to cut some of it off, just like so, and then I'm going to zero it out again. All right, and I have 2.47, so I'm just going to take some of that away. 2.19. So you can see, like, especially your first lab doing this, like, we have a very easy lab, so you can take your time. So we're right at 2. So Ms. Shaplinski will melt.
So while Mrs. Stockard was measuring, we already had all of this out, but your partner would be going and getting your induction burner, and also grabbing a saucepan. So if we were to be doing this for Javicino, you would need to grab one of the gallon like the stock pots. We are making a smaller amount today, so we're gonna go start off with this. So I'm going to put this on a low heat. So I'm starting at about a 2, and I'm gonna pop my butter in here, and I have a straight edge or a rubber spatula, and then I'm gonna give Miss Stockard the bowl back so she can measure her peanut butter.
So now we're gonna do peanut butter. So we're using normal, not normal, but like fresh peanut butter from Peanuts. Depending on the year, you might have to use a soy butter because we have a lot of peanut allergies, so sometimes we modify. So we need 180 grams. I'm using the same bowl because there's no cross-contamination here. So I'm going to zero this out, and now I'm in ounces, but I need grams. So I need to switch my unit to grams, and then I'm just gonna zero it out again. All right, make sure it says 0. Sorry guys, but you can kind of see the troubleshooting here. And then I am going to measure 180 grams of my peanut butter. All right, so there's that. So you can kind of get an idea. This is the equivalent to about 3/4 cup. So a 1/2 and a 1/4 if you wanted to start with dry measuring cups. 180, we're almost there. All right, so I'm just gonna take a little bit away. And just a little more. There you go. All right, so now Ms. Shaplinski's gonna melt that. Oh, there.
We're gonna switch off. We wanna do our peanut butter and our butter first, just because those are gonna be the things that are gonna take the longest to kind of melt down. Chocolate doesn't take very long, so I'm gonna go ahead. And I also want to be playing with this, mixing it, making sure that it's going around, because I need to make sure this consistency is like a water, not a thick mixture.
All right, so now I am going to measure our chocolate chips, which is our last ingredient that's gonna get melted. And we need 170 grams. I zeroed it out. And now I'm gonna do my 170 grams. So I could have put it like on top of the peanut butter, but my partner's waiting for me to measure, so I brought it to her. There we go. Take a little bit of away. Do not eat them. A lot of times kids will start eating these. This is not for snacking. All right, so notice I had peanut butter in my bowl. If these were the ones that were left and they touched the peanut butter, don't put them back in the centralized container just because of allergies, and that is a form of cross-contamination with allergens. So now we're done with this.
And I'm still keeping this at a nice low and slow. You can see my peanut butter is already basically melted and my chocolate is not gonna take very long. So I'm gonna keep this going. Just how Miss Stockard brought these back in increments, if you bring them back in increments to your partner, this is going to make your lab runs more smoothly, right? Because now she's already able to take care of something completely different while I'm over here completing the mixture.
All right, so we are back. So I'm going to be doing two things. I'm going to get my powdered sugar measured into a container, and then I'm also going to get my checks ready. So I need 210 grams of checks. So I'm just going to put my bowl back on there. This was a new bowl, and I'm going to take my checks and I'm going to open it. I'm not using this whole bag. I'm going to be laying my checks onto a sheet pan. If we were doing this for Giavicino, we would have 2 parchment paper lined sheet pans, and we would be dividing this between the 2 pans. For this, we essentially need only a portion of this, so we are going to weigh this. All right, so I have my 210 grams, and I'm going to take this and put it on my parchment paper lined sheet pan. And now I can give this to Miss Shaplinsky so she can pour the chocolate.
So at this point, if I hold up my rubber spatula, you can see that the consistency is it's really liquidy. If it's still the consistency of peanut butter or it's like a chunky chocolate melted, we do not want that. So Miss Stocker did a really nice job putting everything across the board. So I'm going to use partner. Always compliment your partner. You're gonna scrape down your chocolate to one side, and then I'm going to go ahead and I wanna make like a drizzle back and forth all the way down so it's evenly spread out. And then we don't wanna leave any of this in the bottom, right? We want all the chocolate peanut butter goodness. So we're gonna use that rubber scraper to scrape the edge. Also, the other reason that we wanna use that rubber spatula to really scrape down our edges is, do we wanna clean 1,000,001 chocolate clumps out of our sink? The answer would be no. So like if you can see, I'm already down to the end. Now we are going to be, when we do this for Giavicino, we serve to the public. So what that means, I can't just take my hands and stick them in. This is a ready to eat food, so I need to put on a pair of gloves. At this point, please remember that your chocolate sauce is warm, right? And if you look behind me, Miss Stockard is already starting to clean. So we're working as a team here trying to get everything done. So the chocolate is still warm, so as you start to come up and over, it is going to be hot. So don't just dive your hands into that chocolate. Really think like, oh, my fingers. And if you can see, I'm being nice and gentle with this, up and over, up and over. The whole point being that I need to make sure that my checks do not break, and as well that they all get evenly coated.
All right, as she's doing that, I just finished doing some of the dishes, which is what you should also have been doing, like Ms. Shaplinsky said. And now I'm gonna measure our powdered sugar. So I need 120 grams of powdered sugar. I'm gonna measure that directly into a container that we're gonna shake in. So you can measure your powdered sugar and put it in a baggie and use a baggie for shaking, but sometimes we find that it falls all over the place. So for this demo, we're gonna use a container with a lid. When we do this for Giavicino, we have larger ones, and it makes it way easier to break up the clumps and shake, shake, shake without everything going everywhere. So I'm gonna switch this to my grams, and like I said, I need 120 grams, give or take. So a little more is fine because we really want it to be white and powdery. We don't want it to be brown. I mean, it can be brown, but when we sell it, we want it to look white and powdery because our customers are expecting a known quality and quantity of this puppy chow.
At this point, my chocolate checks are all the way covered. If I pull them apart, I don't have any clumps of any uncovered checks. So at this point, Miss Stockard has given me my powdered sugar. I'm gonna take about a handful, and now you can see why you and your partner both want to be working at this together, because at this point, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna give her a couple scoops and then let her shake, shake, shake a little bit, and then I'll keep going here.
So I'm gonna put my lid on and I'm gonna go shake, 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 shake. Make sure your lid's on. It's not funny when it spills all over the place. Sometimes kids think it's funny when they make mistakes, and it's good to laugh at yourself, but you don't wanna make a mess. All right.
So while she was shaking, I was kind of moving all my checks down and in, and she's gotten her first little bit, so I'm gonna put in this last bit. And I can already see Miss Stockard is doing a great job shaking that puppy chow. And then that's all my puppy chow, so I'm gonna go start cleaning.
And I'm gonna keep shaking, 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 shaking. Okay, so you're gonna open it up and you're gonna look. See how I can totally tell I need a lot more powdered sugar. So I'm just going to put probably about a half cup more. Sometimes when you do it for Javachino, you may end up adding a whole nother bag. Okay, so I'm gonna put my lid back on, just like so, and I'm just gonna keep shaking. Okay, and then I'm gonna open it. You can see we're starting to get there. I'm gonna keep shaking and I'll show you how to pack. All right, so we're back, and Ms. Shablinsky and I did a really good job. Like, we deserve a pat on the back. Like, this is some quality puppy chow, and now we are going to package it. We're gonna show you how to package it for Javachino. For your first lab, you're not going to package it like this. You're just gonna divide it amongst you and your partner or partners in baggies. But this is how we do it for Javachino. So we buy these festive bags, and then we use twist ties, or we use these clear bags, and we put about 1.5 cup portion into our bag. You can kind of see there'll be a bunch of you kind of doing this, and you want to make sure you are, like, if you have any of the crumbs, we don't necessarily want that. Notice that I'm not like eating this as I'm packaging. That's disgusting if we're going to be serving it to the public. So she's going to twist it, and then we'll put our twist tie on there.
And I'm twisting it so that I'm not letting any air in. And we're both wearing gloves because this is a ready-to-eat food. So if I touch it, that's gonna be gross. So now I try and make it look pretty. I try and make my twist tie look nice. And then this is what we would sell for $1 at Javachino.
And notice that there's no air in it. Don't leave it air, or we have to redo it.